Hey everyone, it's Tim at Fountainite, and I'm back with another tournament episode. And today's match is going to be against Vector 025. And yeah, this is, I guess, bracket C of Division 1 of the third Quack Cup. And, well, as you should know, the gimmick of Quack Cup 3 is just mixed base in fog. So I'm going to start by taking a look at the map here. Now, I'm playing as player 1, my opponent's playing as player 2. There is a small FTA here, about 3%. Yeah, I think that's probably about right, but it also might just be due to tournament shenanigans and not having a large enough data pool, because this is only out of 200 matches. I would put it at like no more than a 5% FTA though, for sure. The thing that's interesting about this map, right, is you start out, I'd say basically exactly the same starting wise from what I can tell. Well, actually, you have player 2 has a extra infantry in a corner here, and that's it. That's honestly, I mean, it's not. It's kind of a small, a very small second small way to deal with this. You can see everything basically just because of the the missiles and the sub here, and then the mechs on the mountains, for on mountains in the corners here. So you're able to see, well, I'll just show it on this. Right, you're able to see everything in this area, everything in this area, everything in this area. So if you play relatively conservatively and your opponent doesn't really go for your vision, especially like playing around the sub is fun. But because of that, well, that's actually part of the extra 25 defense on my Drake sub actually ended to come into clutch. But yeah, so you're able to see into the base here. You're able to see this airport here. You have the base. You can basically see all of your opponent's production buildings is what I'm going with here, basically. Which is important because it allows you to... I really like maps that are designed like this because it allows you to... it allows you to respond more quickly to what your opponent's bringing out. So part of... And it also adds a bit of an element of playing around these things. So like if you're playing as Drake, right, you can use Drake to sink your opponent's sub a bit quicker, especially if they start draining their own fuel really quickly, because they're dived. Well, that's mainly the reason I chose Drake. Also because it's a decently large map, and even though there are 4 airports on the map, well, there are 4 airports on the map, but Drake is very good against your opponent's fighters and bombers, just because they spend a lot of fuel every day, and getting rid of half of that sort of neuters them. It makes it so that your opponent needs to invest like into an APC for sure in order to keep them fueled. So that's interesting. I forget if let's double check the rules here actually. So the ban on round 2 is, yeah, there weren't any stealths allowed for this map. Not that it would really matter, I don't think, at the end of the day, because well, you're going to be able to see pretty much where the stealths are to begin with anyway, so you should probably just go for a bomber. A bomber is probably a better buy because it does a lot more damage. But the stealths aren't bad because they do force your opponent to build out a fighter. So if you're ahead in income and such, you can build stealths to bait out your opponent's... well, to basically force your opponent to waste money on a fighter. Whereas bombers, they do have a bit of counterplay to them with just anti-air, just spamming anti-air instead. But yeah, even though this is like for what am I saying? For airport map, I did pick Drake is really good on this map because it's like it's just massive. It's got 50k. It's a lab map, right? No, it's an HQ map. So it's got 60k. So it's got 30k per player at par, which is a lot of money. Meaning that Drake's superpower is going to start just getting rid of a bunch of your opponent's army. So as long as you're able to maintain a decent, even a par, even a par as Drake allows you to just win, especially on a map like this with a lot of income. Maybe to a lesser extent if it was like half of the cities or something on a smaller map, Drake isn't as good, especially because then his low air unit firepower would come into play a bit more. But this is also, the other thing about this map is it's a 2 comp tower map, meaning that once he gets, meaning that at par, his air units are actually just normal. So, not much for him to worry about from them anyways. The other COs in tier 3 are Sonya, who's, well, it's 2 comp tower, so like, no, you can't bring Sonya to a 2 comp tower map anyways. I guess she has a bit of a niche of being able to see into this base from the forest with the missiles here, but like that's it. And her day-to-day abilities don't really help her at all in comparison to that, and her bad luck, meaning that she's not able to wall break on a 2 comp tower map, does come into play pretty heavily. So that's why she's definitely the worst pick for this map, at least of the tier 3s. I'd say even like Sammy or Jess is probably better than her, because at least they can, well, no, I don't think that's true. Sammy or Jake, maybe. Jake's probably decent, because you have the 2 comp towers. Adder's probably also a little bit better than Sonya, maybe. Even though you can't see as much, because it is 2 comp tower, so someone like Adder can potentially wall break day-to-day. Sonya can never do that. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Lash, it is mixed base, but it's also like foggy mixed base, and it's, I mean, there is a lot of terrain, so I can see why you might want to pick Lash here, like my opponent did. The issue with it is just there's like Lash's day-to-day, I mean, to be fair, Lash's day-to-day firepower bonus is very good compared to Drake. I'd say it's about on par if you are able to capitalize on her firepower day-to-day. But you have to play pretty aggressively with Lash in order to make that important, and you need to pick off, you need to go for your opponent's infantry, basically. You need to, basically as Lash, what your game plan is going to be, you're going to be using your day-to-day firepower to bully your opponent's units without giving while giving your opponent as little meter as possible. Basically trying to starve with a meter, taking caps wherever you can. Because your superpower, I mean, it's decent, but compared to your opponent's superpower, like, let's be real, and it's the same amount of charge, so you basically just want to focus on your opponent's infantry as Lash. Whereas with someone like Drake or Kindle even, who is the second best pick, I would say, on this map. But Drake, yeah, 57. Only 14 uses, but Drake is actually, I'd say, decent on this map. Especially because that extra artillery range can be played around with a bit more on this map. If you know what you're doing with artillery, especially because of the subs in the center here. And, well, just getting rid of your opponent's vision, really, more than anything else. So you can threaten stuff out with Jake's artillery a bit more readily in this map than you might otherwise. And there's also a shitload of planes everywhere here, so Jake does pop off a little bit here on a map like this. Not compared to like Drake or anything, but well, I don't know. 57 isn't that bad. Only 14 uses though, so that's maybe an outlier. But and then Kindle's obviously like it's tier 3. It's a 2 comp tower map even as well, so Kindle obviously has an advantage in there in that she can like wall break into cities. Then after she wall breaks, she can use the cities to attack into your opponent's walls if you're not careful. So Kindle is a mess to play against on a map like this, mainly because of the 2 comp towers. So Kindle is also pretty good here. That being said, I think I've covered basically everything I want to. Let's see. Let's go back to the overview of this for a second. After it loads. I swear I pay a good amount for my internet, but sometimes it just takes forever to load. Okay. Can I say anything else? Well, actually, I'll just use this page, I guess. Because it's fucking stalled. I don't know why it's stalled. Well, I guess it's just advanced words by web being crap. Which it sometimes is. But anyways, so opening up here, you're basically neck and neck, which is why player 1 has a bit of an advantage here. Is they have the first turn, so they're obviously, and because of like first strikes and stuff. Protection was reset, what the fuck? Okay. That's a bit weird. I'll let that sit in the background. Hopefully it doesn't impact the replay here. But yeah, the missiles are interesting here because they cover this airport, so you're going to need to clear this with an artillery before you're able to build any air units out of here. I mean, you can always just build air units and have them get shot, right? Okay, why is it being weird? Okay. I should just cancel that so I can hold on to that. Actually going to... Actually, it should be fine. Anyways, I'll just let it... I think that's... Well... Yeah, I think that's about it for... Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about were these pipe seams. So you have your 2 base area here, and then you have these pipe seams. Mainly, the only person who's going to want to blast through these pipe seams is going to be the person who has the 2 bases, right? Because that'll allow them to ferry units out of there and just be able to pressure down this base and this airport as well. So if you're going for... You could easily just blow up apart one of these pretty early with a pretty early artillery build, which I think is part of what my opponent was going for early on here. And then just rush out this way with tanks and stuff before your opponent's able to have enough money for like air units or excuse me, any really like fancy stuff there. So yeah, you can pretty that is somewhere you can push, is out of this area into there basically, or even into this area as well. But this area is a bit more further. It's a bit further away from your bases here, so you're basically going to want to take over this area as soon as you can, if possible. These properties over here are also like really exposed, really important to take control of, because they're really close to one another, right? You can chain next to them, you can chain into the comm tower possibly even, so this is a very important point of interest. And I think that's about it. Like, this area you can't really attack into as well because of the mountain range here. Like, that enables that, plus the 2 forests here, like, your opponent can pretty easily build, like, rockets, put them in the forest, and then they cover this entire area, right? So, there's no real point into attacking into this area. There is you can pretty aggressively attack into this area, though, because, like, the road, you have the points of moving in, you have the points that you can move in, like, on both of these areas. You can help push with air units from your base down here, or even from this base. Well, actually not this base, but you know what I mean. Once you get rid of the rockets, I mean the missiles anyways, so... I think that's it for the preamble. Let's get on with the replay. Oh, this is the right unit source, right? Yep, okay, cool. So, starting out here, we're going pretty simply just doing basic moves to start out with. He actually went ahead and waited with all of his units. That's interesting. That's decent practice. To make sure that you're not missing any units. I just don't have the patience to do all of that. You have a nice little capture chain move there to start out with for your units, but past that there's not really all that much to worry about. Starting out here, you go there into there into there if you can, or even like there into there, right? So the early capture game is pretty nice, pretty aggressive. You have a lot of options available to you. My opponent actually goes ahead and builds an artillery there, probably because that's the only thing they can afford to start out with. Interesting. So I don't think it's a bad move, honestly. It's just you need to follow that up with well, there's only so much you can do with that, right? And as you can see here, I'm already starting out with a little bit more money in the bank to play around with here. I think I go for a tank immediately as well. So that'll be able to chase out the artillery. I'm immediately responding to it with the tank here. So you can't really push into this area with the artillery if you want, like he would want to. So he's got enough for a tank, I guess. But really what he should be doing... Yeah, that's really what he... I mean, he's going for a recon here. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I remember this recon being annoying. And he does need the vision in order to see everything in this area. I just think he should have saved up, probably should have saved up for another turn in order to be able to get a tank to back up his artillery with. And I don't know what he's thinking with this guy either. I guess he's going to try and zone out my tank with the artillery, but like... Yeah, we'll see. Because I've got the tank, I'm just going to build infantry this turn. Well, I guess I get a recon of my own over here. Oh, you know why? I'm going to be bringing that around this way to hold on to this property, is what I'm going to be doing with it. Which I think he might have been doing, but trying to go for the same thing. The thing is, I have a tank in here and he doesn't. Now he's going for a mech in this corner up here. I have no idea why he's going for that. I mean, I guess to sort of start pushing into this area maybe, but what he needs for sure this turn is a tank to deal with my tank. Because like tank recon artillery in this area is pretty good to fend off my tank, but like just recon artillery isn't going to be able to cut it here. And especially if you're playing Lash, in which you want to hold on to your day-to-day firepower advantage. Like tank-on-tank engagements is sort of what you want, to an extent, if you can get it. So, like, as Lash, what you want to do is just weaken the tank, not really worry about killing it outright. Because killing it outright gives your opponent more charge, so... Yeah, so long as you have control of the area as Lash and you can just bully your opponents, stuff like that, it's probably like fine. I actually go down here because I wanted to see... Yeah, I wanted to see this guy. I think he was sort of trying to bait me into getting into artillery range with the infantry there and then trapping myself in the infantry, but I kind of assumed he would do that. I moved the... sub into range of his artillery on purpose as well because the sub can take it. Well, the sub can take it, so because all I need it for is vision here, I don't actually need it to be on high health or anything. So doing it like this and potentially just drawing the artillery shot with sub, not only does it keep the artillery busy, so I can do whatever I want with my tank, basically, but it also makes it so that I can charge up my superpower a little bit faster. So that's also really nice. You go for a second tank here, so I can start pressuring his vehicles here, because he doesn't have a tank yet, so like his unit density in this area isn't exactly high. So I'm going to try and capitalize on that with the second tank here. Yeah, so he goes for the artillery shot into my sub, and as you can see, boom, immediately I've got like an extra 6k of charge right there. So that's really nice for me. He's got a good formation here. Actually, I can't really break into it with the one tank. And he goes for a second artillery in the upper left here, actually. I'm assuming he's probably thinking of getting rid of the mech here. It would be my guess for what he wants to do with it here, so that I don't see him building any like cheeky air units. Which is like, it's not that a bad investment early on, so because it'll allow him to get out the air units at this point, but I think a tank would probably be better, especially considering I've got a recon in this area. So he's gonna, if he wants to push into this area at all, he's gonna need some offensive pressure, probably from like a tank or something. He goes for another artillery here as well. That I don't think is a good move at all, because he had the money to get a tank, so he should have gotten a tank there. You could have gotten 2 tanks that turn it if you wanted it, but just going artillery. It's not like he's playing Jake either, so I don't know why he's bothering with it. I go for the cap here just to threaten it, and mainly to draw out any infantry in this area that he has in this area, which I'm pretty sure he has still. So at this point, so because this is a decent artillery formation, I can't really move in with my tank yet. But I'm just building another tank so that I can start pushing next turn potentially. So I'm gonna get an artillery of my own to start shooting down this guy, because I figure, okay, I want to make sure that I have the same sort of options open to me as far as like air units go. So if he wants to take down my mech in this mountain, I'll take down his mech in this mountain, and then we'll both get rid of the vision on each other there. But instead of going for my mech, he's actually pushing with the artillery, which, like, if you're going to be being aggressive with an artillery, you may as well just build a tank, especially if you're going against like a recon or something, because it's going to be more like, I don't know why he's playing defensively with the artillery, because it's Lash. He should be just spamming tanks, going for the kills where he can get them. But oh well. And now he's sort of like, I don't know what he's doing with the artillery there. Well, I guess he's hiding it there, which is like not that bad, but. And he's got the artillery hidden in the forest there as well, so it's like, I mean, it's a decent push, but like, I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be dealing with that. Thankfully, I do have some luck damage off at this point, so I'm able to move in like that with the tank. And I'm able to actually finish off his infantry as well with the weakened infantry even still. And then I have the tank, which I'm moving in like this so that I can potentially get... I sort of want it to come down this way so that I can move it in sort of aggressively there if I need to. That artillery is going to get a decent shot off against one of my tanks, though. So, but after that, well, he does have the medium tank in here, so yeah. But like, he's spending a medium tank and 2 artillery to try and deal with my tank spam here. So I feel like, especially as a Lash, you shouldn't be having to resort to that, because you should be able to just use tanks, overwhelm me with Lash firepower, right? But I guess that's not what he's going to end up doing. Here in this infantry area, I was sort of just scouting out this area.
I feel like I played kind of badly with his infantry even, because like I left him very exposed to his infantry in this area. So I'm moving like that, mainly because I would like to keep his artillery here if I can. So if he fires on my infantry there, that's fine by me. And then I get an artillery of my own. I believe this was to... Oh yeah, this was to lock down this city. So I could fall back next turn with my recon next turn without allowing it to just get captured for free by his infantry. So take out my infantry, gets a very good actually shot with the artillery there. Gets those 2 properties finally. Moves in against my recon and yeah, takes out that infantry, which is fine by me actually at this point. Because I'm not really because I would like to keep this guy in this area if possible. So I finish off that guy with that infantry, move down like there. Honestly, I should have probably gone like that, but I feel like part of the reason why I did this was to reveal... Well, I don't think I intentionally revealed it. And I feel like maybe it would have been better to just have it there and then push next turn onto there. But having it in the forest isn't like bad or anything. So I think it's like a decent play, possibly. I don't know. Anyways, I'm taking shots at his mech at this point with my artillery here, which I'm assuming he forgot that's what he was going to do with the artillery here. Get good shots off here, move in with my artillery so that he can't move in at all there, especially with the artillery, he can't move in extra. But because I'm on the city here, and he's only on a plains, he's not actually going to be able to take out my recon here. At least not without spending a couple of luck rolls from his infantry. At least that's what I would figure. So I can't really... I'm expecting him to not be able to cap this property for sure. And if he decides to move in with his infantry and take out my recon and go for the cap or whatever, I do have the artillery in the back here to get a good free shot off on his infantry. If he goes for that, I got another infantry here as well. So overall, I'm looking pretty good over here. He took a couple of good shots against my infantry here, but at this point I'm deciding, okay, I'm abandoning any pushes into this area and I'm just moving down this way. I see his tank as well here, which he built this turn, so I believe I respond to that with a tank. Yeah, 2 tanks actually. I'm getting some artillery here because like I would prefer to be able to afford like a medium tank to counter his, but as long as I just keep on spamming artillery in this area, I can keep him away from my production area, keep him away from palm tower, so it's pretty good in that area. I'm like pretty good, and I can just move my tanks out of the way. Just move him this way so that I can maybe go for pick capture and use properties in the center here. So he does go for the artillery shot into the recon here. I forget if he goes for the luck roll or not. And like that's a very good shot there because he does have the extra 30% firepower from the lab there. So, well, from sitting on the lab there. So total of 50. He's like basically Sammy infantry here. So that's what he should. That's what he should be doing as Lash, basically. It's nice to fall back here. Yeah, the trap here. I did manage to get a trap there with the infantry, which is pretty nice. But now he's got like a very tough artillery block in this area, so to deal with. So I don't really want to push into that at all anymore. At this point, like my infantry are kind of out of position, so I forget what I do with them. I either retreat them or just assume we're going to be dead, basically, because they are kind of out of position at this point. So I finish off that guy. move the artillery in to start shooting down his missiles here, because I would like to be able to use this airport. Oh yeah, and move in and take out his infantry with them. That's like, I'd say that's a decent move. Not like the best, but it's alright. Now I'm moving in with the tank to like threaten this guy as well. I got infantry in position to start capping here, so I can get both of these properties next turn ideally. Even if, depending on where he goes, with this infantry at least. So getting an anti-air there because I see the battle copter, and yeah, I get a battle copter of my own in this area because I did blow out his mech there, and I would like to have something to deal with the anti-air. I mean the artillery, and I guess the medium tank to an extent as well. At least in this corner. It's a good shot off on that infantry. Takes out my 2 there, and starts moving towards for a push in this sort of direction. This guy has coverage of basically this entire area at this point. And like, while I could move down with the sub next turn, I'd also be like unable to see into that base at that point. So at this point, I kind of just want to dive my sub to keep the vision on everything going. Now I was moving in pretty aggressively with the battlecopter there. At that point, I just hide there, get a good shot off there against the missiles, actually. Really good shot off there. Get a first strike against the tank and against the mech there, so I'm sort of winning in this area at this point. Especially considering I have an extra tank here, so overall I have control of this area at this point. He's built another mech, but like not going to be able to do much at this point with it. Get the kill there, actually, even because mainly because I wanted to make sure that he couldn't interrupt this cap, and there's nothing else in this area at all that he can interrupt with it, so I wanted to ensure that that would work, because even at 1 health, this infantry can interrupt the cap. 1. Potentially. Especially if they like pop their power or superpower. Ah, no, I was just making sure. Making dead sure that he was gone. And also, like, if he doesn't have vision of this, well, I mean, he's gonna have vision of no matter what, but because it is his city. But anyways, I moved my battlecopter up north since I see the anti-air here, so I'm sort of trying to draw his anti-air in as many directions as I can. Sort of backing up the infantry here as well, so like he could move in, like it's still going to take a couple of turns. So if he attacks with his recon here, I can get a free shot off of my battlecopter in response. Overall, not that strong here in this area though, especially not in this area. Like if he wants to move in with his tank here, he could just move in and catch me completely off guards with it. Because I don't have much of a resistance in this area down here. Because like blowing open this pipe seam does allow him to just funnel units down this way pretty quickly. Pretty aggressively. So takes out the infantry there. Takes out half a battlecopter there, which is fine by me. It's more charge. Like it's a Drake battlecopter. It's not going to be doing that much anyways. That makes it so that I can't really capture anything with that infantry anymore. And then he goes for the cap there. He's got the artillery to back it up as well, which I don't believe I have in my vision range right now. So yeah, it's not in my vision range. So overall, pretty good moves by my opponent right here so far. I take out the tank, take out the infantry. Now he can't really do much with those mechs anymore, because, well, at least my tank's safe from them, which is ideally what I want. I'm moving pretty aggressively there with the battlecopter, actually. Considering as an anti-air there. But what I wanted to do here was get enough charge so that I could pop my superpower, which I do. So I'm able to just move in like that. I know I pop it. Yep, there we go. Because I lose vision from Varain, I didn't want to be too aggressive to start out with. But yeah, the Typhoon makes it so that I don't have to push it all against this guy for at least another turn. I do push in with the Recon, and I see that he has the artillery there now. So I move in like that sort of aggressively. But yeah, I just start swarming out of this area with my units at this point. I get a first strike against the medium tank. Maybe not the best idea. Maybe you should have just left it in the forest, because that is sort of giving up control of this area to an extent. Especially considering I attacked from a road. Like, that was way too aggressive of me. So he pops his super in response, takes out my tank with just the anti-air, so yeah. Should have just head out in the... I should have probably just hit out with it in the forest even. Maybe got a decent first strike against like a random anti-air or whatever. Be able to take out my tank there as well. So he gets a decent counter push off this turn. But as you can see here, I was at head like at what, 44 units at the start of that turn. So yeah. Oh, also I meant to move this guy into the forest at some point. But I just forgot. So he's going to be able to take this guy out a little bit faster than I might have hoped. Yeah, takes out my battlecopter, which is really unfortunate, but I feel like getting the super off at that point is worth the battlecopter loss there overall. But yeah, so the reign's over, and we're actually looking neck and neck at this point. Which is unfortunate for my opponent, because I'm ahead 3k income at this point, actually. So, as you can see, Drake's just starting to steamroll at this point. But yeah, the artillery there is coming in pretty clutch. It's allowing me to zone out at least this guy a little bit. Getting some good shots off over here as well. Repairing my tank with the Black Belt is a nice little cheeky move as well that I was able to do pretty easily. Pretty fun. I knew this entire time that this battlecopter was here, so I just kept on building anti-air, or moving my anti-air around to zone it out as best as I could. And then I also had battlecopters in this area to deal with it as well. So, but yeah. Oh, the other reason why I was able to, why I had the battlecopter in that area and I was sort of fine with losing it, was because I had the artillery right here. So I got a decent shot off and shot into the anti-air here with my artillery. Still not like good enough for me to take it out with a battlecopter shot, especially with the superpower. But well, actually, this isn't even that bad. It's within margin of error for if it's on like a road or a show or something. But yeah. So, anyways, he's starting to take out my my missiles here, getting a good shot off with the infantry even, because missiles are kind of weak. Takes out my tank, which is really unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it didn't end up mattering too much, even though like he does have control of this area at this point, which is kind of bad for me. He moves back with his medium tank into this city so that he can get repairs. But like, look at how much I'm ahead in like. I'm gonna be able to get my next Typhoon really quickly as well. Like I'm ahead at 20k at this point. So this is where Drake just starts to steamroll. Even so, he's falling back with his battle copter even at this point, which is interesting. Taking out whatever that was and that guy as well. Getting a decent shot off with the artillery there into the sub, and I'm hoping for the luck into the sub to finish it off, but I just don't get it, unfortunately. Which was really annoying, but at this point, it's basically forcing my opponent. I'm basically forcing my opponent to dive their sub, so it'll sink in time, especially since I'm Drake and I'm spamming. I'm spamming the whatchamacallit, the Typhoons, so I'm draining their fuel as well at this point. And then I just overwhelm his vehicles in this area. Move in my inventory so that he can't move in with the tank against me, because I can see the tank from the mountain over here. Then I go up a cap here. I'm sort of hoping to draw in his medium tank. So I've got artillery range there. I've got artillery range there. Yeah, I've got artillery range everywhere at this point. So if he decides to move in with a medium tank, he can. I'm more so expecting him to move in with the tank here, possibly. Or maybe even the recon. But yeah, his missiles are gone, so I can build whatever I want in this area. I know I built something funny very bit, but not quite yet, I guess. And then I'm also battle copter spamming a bit in this area because he does still have a lot of artillery in this area. I'd like some support against the medium tank if possible at some point. So yeah. But as you can see here, 48 unit count to his 35. So yeah, like the 4k income lead isn't very good for my opponent at this point. He does get a good shot off there with the medium tank. So he does take out my artillery from full health, mainly because of the extra 30%. So like 50% firepower. Even against a forest, like it's a medium tank. Even though it's injured, it's still like pretty good against my my artillery there. So yeah, he finally takes out my vision from here. So now he's got like basically free reign in this area. He's getting an anti-air here to sort of respond to my battlecopter spam coming out of this area, but at this point, like he's moving it pretty aggressively with his medium tank. So I'm sort of gonna be sending them down towards that anyways at this point. Yeah, I've got the recon here to sort of scout out this area. I've got these two guys in position to potentially take stuff out next turn. And then I've got the the missiles here. So if he decides to move in against my artillery with his medium tank, he's gonna pay a price for it, basically. He also doesn't have vision of my artillery anymore, so he's gonna need to move in with like his tank or whatever before he's able to do anything in this area. I'm also fine with blocking my base here because I do have 2 airports, so not being able to build from here just means I'm just gonna want, as far as unit count goes. Plus, I've already got 43 unit count. I think that, yeah, it's 60 unit limit. So, I mean, it's getting kind of close to the unit limit, but it's still not like crazy close quite yet. So yeah, I'm moving these guys down to deal with medium tank at this point. So as you can see, 47-38 is like the main issue here for my opponent. He's like, I'd say around 180-ish, so he's not actually that far behind in terms of just unit value on the board, but Still not like the greatest. Plus, I'm making gains in a lot of areas as far as pushes go. I got a little bit aggressive again on the push here against this area with the infantry there, and I got punished pretty heavily for it because he had a bunch of vehicles in this area, and like he was able to take out, I think. Oh no, that's later. But yeah, he's got basically de facto control of this entire area at this point. Takes out whatever I had in the forest there with the medium tank, so he's keeping it pretty. He's being pretty conservative with it at this point. Which isn't like the greatest for me, but like it'll be fine. It's like good enough. So he does have a battlecopter in range of these two cities at this point, which is annoying, but like what are you gonna do? So I go for the caps here and then get the superpower off. So now he can't see even more than he couldn't before. Like the anti-air especially can't see anything. It's only got, is that vision? Like it should be 1. But anyways, yeah, I'm able to just start swarming his medium tank with my battlecopters, finishing it off with the tank even. I've got this guy in backup to push against any tank pushes that he wants to move in with. Got the artillery still here in position. Just swarming his units at this point. Get a decent shot off with the anti-air there. Honestly, should have probably, in hindsight, I should have moved it back towards these guys, but whatever. And then I get the APC here because my sub is getting a little bit low on fuel, so like I would like to refuel it if possible here. His sub's at 8, so he's only got a couple turns left with it before he loses vision of this area. So yeah, he moves in with the battlecopter there. He's able to take out mine. He's got a superpower of his own at this point. Like look at how much damage that 3 health anti-air did to the battlecopter from the city. Like, Lash's superpower is no joke. Now let's be real about that. So he basically cuts my entire push in this area. So I'm basically going to be falling back and being more defensive in this area. I probably shouldn't have pushed open this guy, because that was one of the things keeping this closed off for me. But, oh well. I do manage to trap his anti-air with my recon, which I was pretty happy about. I don't get to unfortunately I don't get to trap his battlecopter, but oh well. And he goes in and resigns. So, at this point, like, he's been behind on income for a while now. He's not going to be able to keep this. He's not going to be able to flip this next turn because I've got units in the area. Even though, well, actually, to be fair, I think this guy might be able to hold on. Well, okay, maybe not. 41 from my tank there plus an infantry hit. Yeah, if it doesn't outright kill it, it'll definitely bring it down to like 1 health, so. Yeah, he's not going to be flipping that anytime soon. He's down 3k income at this point. But I'm about to flip this one. I'm not going to get this one, but he's got nothing to grab this back with. And there's no real way that he's going to be pushing in any of these areas anytime soon. I also have enough battlecopters in this area to just swarm this little block of units here. You could get another anti-air here to maybe guard against that a little bit, but I do have the tank here to help my push there. So I think basically all of his units here are dead, more or less. They're as good as dead. I might not be able to push super effectively this next turn, because he does have the super active. Let's see. Battlecopter into tank on city. It's at 8 health. Yeah, see, it's only doing a fifth, so I feel like this tank's gonna at least survive. The artillery even at 7. It's not gonna be taking that much damage. But I'm gonna be able to just swarm him next turn, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a kill. That's this guy's gonna be able to take out one of these guys. Battlecopter plus this guy's gonna be able to take out this tank. The infantry, I guess, can live. Battlecopter into there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So take a good shot with the battlecopter there. To be fair, well, I might just go for the infantry with one of my these battlecopters to be safe, especially if it went for an anti-air. But like at this point, I'm just gonna keep on taking him down with the typhoons. He's he's down on income, and yeah, it's not gonna end up being too good for him. I think my opponent's biggest mistake here was just not being aggressive enough at the beginning, because when you're playing Lash, what you want to be doing is just being as aggressive as possible to start out with, really taking advantage of that day-to-day firepower bonus. That's why you picked Lash. It's sort of why she's good on mixed base. So it was weird to me that he just went artillery. I guess because he assumed that... I guess he was assuming that... well, I mean, just a tank there would have been better, probably. Because he could have had tank to counter the tank, and he'd win health-wise. He might not win, like, in terms of meter, but... And to be fair, he did play really well with his artillery. It's just... I don't think it ended up being enough for him, right? So... yeah. Going for the shot into the sub was also a really bad move for him, because there was like no chance for him to take it out. The reason why I did it here, well, not here, but this next turn, was because there was a pretty good shot of me actually just taking it out. So you into you. Like, there's a chance that I kill it there. And even if I don't kill it, like 72, 76, I guess. So it's pretty close. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish it off, but like, you gotta take those rolls. Like, can anti-air attack into? No, I can't. Okay, that's what I figured. But anyways, pretty good play from my opponent. I just feel like had he invested into tanks earlier on, I mean, this is more of an artillery-based map anyways, so I don't... Like, Lash is good on mixed base, but usually Lash's artillery isn't the greatest. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, he was able to get a really good artillery shot from the forest there against my tank. It's just after that, you know, what happens, right? And then on a 2 airport map, Lash also isn't the greatest, especially if you're assuming Kindle's going to be in the mix, right? Well, for 2 comm towers as well. So, like, 2 comm towers, 2 airports, I don't know if Lash is the best idea. I think Kindle's probably... Well, Kindle and Drake are the 2 good picks on this map. 2 really good picks. Lash can be, like, good, though. Like, my opponent was able to hold on for quite a while. It's just... Drake is inevitable. So, yeah. But anyways, that's it for today's match. Right now... No, it's not even gonna... Okay, there we go. Yeah, here's the bracket as it is now, because they are both going fucking Drake. That's hilarious. But yeah, right now I'm waiting on these guys to finish off. I'm assuming, just looking at the ratings of these 2 players, not to like knock on Mark or anything, but I'm kind of assuming Moblib's gonna win. Mark could easily take it though, especially since he's gonna have first certain advantage here. I'm kind of assuming Moblib's gonna win this next round. I don't know why I would think that, but I'm kind of assuming. So this third match is gonna be an interesting one. So this is Donda está. It actually has a pretty, well, actually that's a bit better of a first turn advantage than I thought it was. I seem to remember there being a second turn advantage, but you know what? I'll take it. I will take anything I can get in this next match, honestly. It's gonna be tier 2. It's gonna be kind of interesting. But I will talk more about that when it happens. So, yeah. Expect that at some point in the next couple of months. I don't know when we're gonna be done with their match, and I don't like. It'll happen eventually. Anyways, if you enjoyed, do go ahead and like and subscribe and all that other nonsense, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for staying tuned for this really long tournament episode if you managed to make it this far.